welcome to Homestead Corner. I'm Ginny, and today I want to talk about the top 6 survival priorities. So in any survival situation, there are going to be priorities, things that you want to get done first. They're the most important in order to secure your survival. So we want to make sure that we're looking at what ways it's going to work for us. Each one of us may go about these a little bit different than the next person. But it's definitely important for us to prepare for that if we ever are in a survival situation, that we're able to get things together and do what we need to do to take care of ourselves and our family. So I've just put together a small list of 6 priorities that I think should be the very first things that we should be looking at for survival situations. So let's jump into them. So the first priority on my list is water. We can only go 3 days without clean drinking water. And if your water is not clean, we definitely can become sick, or it could even kill you. There are so many different things that could be in the water. So making sure that we have a good supply of water is super important to get started with. And in a long-term situation, you're going to want to make sure that you've got filters and a way to clean your water, whether you're doing it naturally with, charcoal, sand, grass, things like that, running it through buckets, or if you've got, your fancy filters, if that's the way you choose to go. But there are a ton of different ways to go about that, but making sure you've got water as your number one priority, I think, is so important. And the second thing on my list for priorities is shelter. Shelter is really important. You've got to be able to get out of the elements, whether it is really extreme heat or extreme cold. Both of those can definitely do you in a survival situation. You want to make sure you can get out from under the extremes and be able to stay warm or stay cool. So shelter is definitely second on my list. And number 3 goes along with number 2. It is warmth. You want to make sure you are able to stay warm. Having appropriate clothing, being able to start fires in all different types of weather. If you've got to start a fire outside and it's raining, practicing that is a really good thing to do. Because starting a fire outside when it is snowing or raining is a lot more difficult than when it's a nice, bright, warm, sunny day and everything is dry. So practicing that fire starting and fire building skills is really important, and knowing we've got that under our belts, because warmth goes, we've got to be able to stay warm. Hypothermia sets in really quickly, even in warmer areas. You may be at a higher elevation where it gets really chilly at night, and you'd be surprised all the different situations that can happen, and you can get hypothermia even when you think you can't. Number 4 on my survival priorities list is food. Food is so important, making sure you have what you need. Those dry goods that you can store in your pantry for decades are so valuable. We need to have foods that we can eat, whether we are foraging for food, and learning how to forage is part of it. I think it's so important, and it's different for everybody, because you may not have the same plants around you that I have, and I'm not going to have the same as you, because we all live in different areas. And I think it's great to look around and see if you can start to identify plants and research them. Are they safe to eat? A lot of things you would never think is food are safe to eat, like cat nine tails. They are very nutritious, actually. Of course, my husband says he's never going to eat those swamp weeds, but you got to do what you got to do in a survival situation, and knowing which ones are safe are really important. And number 5 on my list is protection. We need to know self-defense and be able to protect ourselves, because if you're out there in a survival situation, many other people may be as well. And that is what's going to be the most dangerous thing around us, is other people. So we've got to be able to protect ourselves, and having numerous different ways to do that is really important. I wouldn't depend on just one thing. I think we need to look at numerous options to be able to protect ourselves, because one thing can fail, and we want to make sure we've got a backup and a backup for that as well. And number 6 on my list is signaling. I think signaling is really important, whether it's with a mirror, smoke, whatever way that you can do it. Some people like to carry flares in their emergency bags and things like that in case they need them, but it's totally up to you what kind of thing that you use to signal with. I like to carry mirrors, and I know that I can use smoke as well. Because when you get that fire skill down, that fire skill really is one of the most important skills, because it's your warmth, it's your food, it's signaling, it's so many things, and there are so many things you can use it for. You can make your charcoal to filter your water with it also. So getting that fire skill down is important, and it's going to help you with those other skills. So having those in order is really important, but signaling is definitely on my list. If you need help, if you get lost somewhere or you're stuck somewhere, if you were trying to get from point A to point B and you broke your leg or something like that, you may need to get someone to come and help you. You may not be able to get out on your own. So knowing those signaling skills can be super important. And that is it for my top 6 survival priorities. I think it is so important to make sure we've got our priorities in order. I love lists to help me remember things and to check on things and things like that. I keep all kinds of lists. I love to write lists to help me stay organized, remember things, and the older I get, the less I am likely to remember things. I don't know how you guys are with that, but mine definitely is increasingly getting worse. So my lists are coming in more and more handy for myself. So I love to make lists, and I think they are so handy. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.